Hello friends, you are welcome to my YouTube channel JK Academy India. In this video, we will talk about the plugging of three-phase induction motor, and the same induction motor can be used as a generator. Plugging of an induction motor means what? An induction motor can be quickly stopped by simply interchanging any of its two stator leads. It reverses the direction of revolving flux, which produces a torque in the reverse direction, thus applying brake on the motor. Obviously, during this so called plugging period, the motor acts as a brake. It absorbs the kinetic energy from the still revolving load, causing its speed to fall. The associated power, mechanical power Pm, is dissipated as heat in the rotor. At the same time, rotor continues to receive power P2 from the stator, which also dissipates as heat. Consequently, plugging produces rotor I square R losses, which even exceed those when the rotor is locked. So these losses are much higher as compared to the locked rotor condition. Now, using the same phenomena, how the induction motor can be used as a generator, let's see. When run faster than its synchronous speed, an induction motor runs as a generator called induction generator. Suppose a motor is designed, 4-pole motor is designed for synchronous RPM 1500, having slip 4%. It is running at 1440 RPM at frequency 50 Hz, and by means of other mechanical device, if we run this motor above 1500 RPM, that is the synchronous speed, the motor behaves like an induction generator, means motor goes in generation mode. It converts the mechanical energy it receives into electrical energy, and this energy is released by the stator as shown in the figure. This is the rotor and this is the stator. An ordinary squirrel cage motor, which is driven by a petrol engine, is connected to a three-phase line as shown here. This is the petrol engine. As soon as the motor speed exceeds its synchronous speed ns, it starts delivering active power P to three-phase line. This. However, for creating its own magnetic field, it absorbs reactive power Q from the line which it is connected. This is the reactive power. S in Q, that is opposite in direction of P. The active power is directly proportional to the slip above the synchronous speed. The reactive power required by the machine can also be supplied by a group of capacitors connected across its terminal as shown in this diagram. The arrangement can be used to supply a three-phase load without using an external source. So this is a petrol engine or diesel engine which is coupled with this motor, and rotating this motor, the motor generates power and supply to this load connected across it, and receives power Q by using the capacitor. The frequency generated is slightly less than the corresponding to the speed of the rotation. The terminal voltage increases with capacitance. If capacitance is insufficient, the generator voltage will not build up. Hence, capacitor must be large enough to supply the reactive power normally drawn by the motor. Complete torque curve of a three-phase machine. We have already seen that three-phase machine can be run as a motor when it takes electric power and supplies mechanical power. The direction of the torque of rotor rotation are in the same direction. The same machine can be used as asynchronous generator. Asynchronous means the machine running above the synchronous RPM, called asynchronous. When driven by a speed greater than the synchronous speed, in this case it receives mechanical power in the rotor and supplies electrical power from the stator. The torque and speed are oppositely directed. So this is the speed versus power characteristic of generator, and this is the torque versus speed characteristics of the motor. The same machine can also be used as a brake using the plugging period. The three modes of operation are predicted in torque curve as shown below. So this is the brake curve, this is for motoring, and this is the generating mode of the motor. Power stages in an induction motor are shown in diagram. Stator iron loss consisting of eddy and hysteresis loss depends on the supply frequency and the flux density in the iron core. It is practically constant. The iron loss of the rotor is, however, negligible because the frequency of the rotor current under normal running condition is always small. Total copper loss considered 3I square R2. Different stages of power developed are shown under. Here the input power given to the motor P1, stator copper and iron losses, rotor input power P2, rotor copper losses, mechanical power developed in the rotor PM, to the gross torque Tg, windage and friction losses due to bearing, and this is the final rotor output power, that is mechanical power given in bhp, brake horsepower. Torque developed by an induction motor. An induction motor develops gross torque Tg due to gross rotor power output Pm. Its value can be expressed either in the terms of rotor input P2 or rotor gross output Pm as given. So Tg will be equals to P2 by omega s. Omega s is nothing but the revolving speed of the motor in radian per second. This is the graphical representation in which motor input power is Pi, stator copper iron loss, motor input via air gap, rotor copper loss and mechanical power developed by the motor, that is gross output Tg torque. After deducting the windage and friction losses, we will get the total output given to the rotor, that is P mechanical or shaft power output. Now Tg equals to Pm upon omega or 2 pi n. The shaft torque TSH is due to output power P out, which is less than Pm of the rotor friction and windage loss. So TSH can be written like P output divided by omega. The difference between Tg and TSH equals the torque lost due to friction and windage loss in the motor. In above expression, N and Ns are in RPS, not in RPM. If they are in RPM, the above expression for the motor torque will become like this. So Tg will be 9.55 P2 by N2 Newton meter and TSH will be 9.55 P out by N Newton meter. Now the torque, mechanical power and rotor output. Stator input, we have seen Pi equals to stator output plus stator losses. The stator output is transferred entirely inductively to the rotor circuit via air gap. Obviously, rotor input P2 equals to stator output. Rotor gross output Pm equals to rotor input minus rotor copper losses. This rotor output is converted into mechanical energy and gives rise to gross out torque Tg. Out of this gross torque develops some of the lost in windage and friction losses in the rotor and rest appears as useful or the shaft torque TSH. Let n RPS be the actual speed of the rotor, and if Tg is in Newton meter, then Tg into omega or 2 pi n equals to rotor gross output Pm Newton meter. If there were no copper losses in the rotor, then rotor output will equal rotor input output and rotor will run at synchronous speed. So Tg will be equals to rotor input P2 by 2 pi ns at synchronous speed. In this picture, the type DF200 diesel electric locomotive is the first motor driven train equipped with diesel generators since 1958. It adopted induction motors to realize high acceleration, high speed and large torque, which resulted in quick response generator brake system. Now the rotor gross output is Tg into omega and the rotor input P2 equals to Tg omega s. The difference of 2 equals to rotor copper loss P2 minus Pm. So rotor copper loss divided by rotor input is nothing but the slip. Therefore, rotor copper loss is equal to S into rotor input or S into power across air gap, that is SP2. Also, rotor input equals to rotor copper loss by S. Rotor gross power output Pm will be input P2 minus rotor copper loss or input minus S rotor input. So it will be 1 minus S into P2. Therefore, rotor gross output will become 1 minus S into P2. or rotor gross output by input P2 can be written as 1 minus S or N upon Ns. So Pm by P2 is nothing but N upon Ns, and rotor efficiency will be N by Ns. N is the normal speed, Ns is the synchronous speed, whereas the rotor copper loss by rotor gross output is nothing but S by 1 upon S. So the important conclusion from the above discussion, if some power P2 is delivered to the rotor, then a part SP2 is lost in the rotor itself as copper loss and appears at heat, and the remaining power 1 minus SP2 appears as gross mechanical power Pm, including the friction and windage losses. Therefore, P2 raised to Pm raised to I square R equals to 1 raised to 1 minus S raised to S. So this is the relationship established for P2 Pm and I square R, or P2 Pm PCR copper loss can be the same 1 raised to 1 minus S raised to S. So thanks for watching.